What is up, YouTube world? I am Ashley D. So today I'm going to do something that's going to have an open panel. You could feel free to call in. I left the description in the comment section. Give your opinion. We could go back and forth, have a little chat. It's open for everyone. But today we're going to be doing celebrity couples. As everyone else says, celebrity goals. So how they put it. I'm going to give my opinion and my breakdown on everything. I was going to comment a couple of days ago on the Erica and Safaree situation. I gave it a little time for everybody else to speak their own opinion, but today is going to be the segment with Ashley D. I'm just saying. So to me, the whole Erica and Safaree situation, from the beginning, it was doomed. In my eye, they met and married off of lust instead of what we have in common and what we could bring to the table. Safaree always was attracted to Erica, even on the show that they played, and I think it was it Stranger Than I'll have to look it up, but they co-starred in a show together. And Safaree, to me, he seemed like he liked Erica, but it wasn't necessarily like I want her to be my girlfriend. I looked at it as though Safaree is Safaree, and on each show he played in, he starred in, he just wanted to smash females. I mean, he was trying to holler at everybody that gave him the time of day. And the majority of the females, like Juju, they didn't take Safaree serious. You know, they laughed at Safaree. Safaree cool, he's an attractive guy, but marriage material, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm gonna jump the broom with Safaree immediately right away and take him serious. Erica, to me, seemed like a toxic female. She's an attractive female, but she's very vocal. And sometimes being a female and being too vocal, you can cross the line with your man. Sometimes you have to pipe down when you're dating a strong alpha male. And Safaree seemed like he would just go with the flow and allow Erica to have her own opinion. However, he still did what he wanted to do on the low, and that's what caused conflict a majority of the time in their relationship. And when you want to marry someone for better or worse, you have to see what you have in common besides the attraction. We're all physically attracted to someone at one point in time in our lives. But when we get older and you want to make such a commitment, you have to see what more do you have in common after that. After the sexual part of the relationship, what else is there? What are you going to talk about and lay up with in the bed afterwards? What are you guys going to do on your downtime? What can you bring to the table? And I really saw a disconnect with both of them. Even so, to the point where even when they did a premiere after they had the kids and everyone was on there, Safaree and Erica had a disagreement in front of everyone regarding that he didn't want to have any more kids. And he suggested because they gained too much weight during that time. And Erica seemed embarrassed and her feelings were really hurt. And my opinion on that as well, when you get in a relationship with someone, to me, I'm going to check their background. I'm going to see where they come from. And to me, it's important. I don't know if it is to anyone else, but when I'm talking to a man, I would like to see how he treats his mother, how he interact with his parents. You know, and sometimes people come from a struggling background to where they don't have a choice but to dissociate, and they're not in that type of committed conflict with their parents. Their parents are toxic and they stay away from them. That's a different situation. But when you want to marry someone and they're close to their parents, you get to see that inside on how they react and how they treat them when they get older. So to me, I would suggest any female that's dating a guy, see what the background is on him and how he interacts with his mom. Secondly, when he said he didn't want to have a child and she was embarrassed, it seemed like he was not ready to commit to having a child. And where Erica messed up at, and him, when you get married to someone, you make sure that you're on the same page to where you want to have a child, he want to have a child. I want to have 2 kids, he wants to have 2 kids. The sad part of the situation is a lot of people marry and go in relationships and they already know their partner does not want any kids. So once they get pregnant, they have this fantasy world where they feel like their partner's gonna change their mind and all of a sudden be happy and delighted that they're having a child. And sometimes it backfires on them. The partner's upset. The partner no longer wants to be with them. The partner feels like they lied to them. And it's the end of the relationship. However, Erica knew he did not want to have that first child and her feelings was hurt. If they really wanted to be together and she wanted more kids, her violating and going over the code and over how he felt, I felt like that was wrong. I felt like they both should have came to a mutual agreement. A man can't tell us what to do with our bodies. He can't control how we feel and everything. But at the same time, that is your husband and you both should honor each other. And if you're married for the right reasons, you should take that serious and that commitment. And when he did not want to have another child, maybe they should have went to counseling and talked about it and see why not. Other than just going along now and she's pregnant and she's a single mom. Like, what kind of life is that going to be for her in her 30s, late 30s, and she's carrying a child and she's going to be pregnant and alone? And I think about all those aspects when I'm entering in a relationship. It's very important that you guys are on the same page. You cannot make a person change his mind down the line. It doesn't work like that. Secondly, another couple that I was going to bring back up, I did a little 8-minute video on, was Jim Jones and Chrissy. The Jim Jones and Chrissy situation. Like, I'm lost for words with that. I feel bad for Chrissy. I feel like she thinks Jim Jones is as good as it gets for her. She's been with Jim Jones on and off for a long time now. And Jim Jones is apparently the breadwinner. And she has her hobbies outside of Jim Jones and her little way of getting money. But Jim Jones is the financial bread provider. So now she feels she's tied to him. And when you get in these relationships with these men that have success and they're doing something for themselves, it's important that you don't get blinded by that. It's important that you figure out what you want to do and you do it for yourself and on your own. Chrissy dressed well in a show. Chrissy should have been doing something where she opened up her own fashion store, where she had her own business going instead of depending on Jim solely for financial benefit. It didn't look well for her. And the sad part about it was the show was called Jim Jones and Chrissy. Like, that was sad right there. Let alone down the line when they went into the store and Jim Jones had a clothing line that was supposedly coming out. Chrissy asked him what part of the percentage is he going to give her. And he couldn't name it. And she pressed him and she pressed him and she pressed him. And finally, I think he gave her some low number. And he sent her there to the shop and he allowed her to pretend she was looking over the clothes so she could feel like she was engaged in it. And what's unfortunate and sad about that situation is that's what a lot of men do. They'll buy you some earrings, they'll buy you a piece of jewelry when you bring up something about commitment or spending time with them, or even a female. They'll take you on a date. They'll do something to change your mind and say, well, it's not that bad, or he does care, he's showing me. Usually they show you for a couple days, a week or two, and then they're back to their old habit and back to their old routine. Clearly, Jim Jones on that show, for him not even wanting to have her a part of that. When a man or a woman are committed to you in a relationship and they want you there and they see a future with you, automatically he would have wanted her a part of that venture together. That would have been something they did and shared together. They are getting money together. They have a business together. So when he denied her that part of him, immediately the red flags went off to me. And unfortunately, it should have went off to Chrissy as well, that this man did not see a future with you down the line. He didn't look at it for better or worse. He's looking at it as for the moment. And a lot of females don't realize when they stay with these guys for years and years and he does not want to commit, they're only making themselves look bad. And the worst part is you stay with a guy that long and then eventually you break up. Guess what? More than likely, he's going to get with the next female. And the next female he's serious about, more than likely he's going to marry her. And that's going to hurt you even worse. That's how it always works out. They marry someone else after you, and it's not even that long of a time before they commit to them. So if this man can't commit to you, and he showed that to you time and time again, I would suggest you do what you have to do that's best for you and move on. You've given him more than your golden years, the best years of your life. You know, you're past the age now where conceiving a child. You know, so you have to do what's best for you. And some females are trapped in these relationships and they don't see any way out. And unfortunately, Chrissy don't see her name, her brand, herself without Jim Jones. If anybody wants to call in, feel free to call in and we can discuss it. You could give your opinion on it. The Erica and Safaree situation. Who did not see that coming? I'm just saying. I saw that a mile ago. And even for my opinion is so we have the Chrissy and Jim Jones situation. Now, think about Fabulous and Emily. They went on vacation with them last year. They supposed to be a power couple. For so long, Emily has did every and anything to show that she was with Fabulous in a relationship. She was his stylist. So imagine, I used to think Fabulous used to be one of my favorite rappers. And when I would see him with different girls all the time, I never knew about Emily. I saw even him with photos of him and his son. But I never knew there was one female in a picture that he was supposed to have been committed to. However, she did any and everything she could. She didn't want to be on TV. She didn't want to blow his spot up. But when she committed to being on Love and Hip Hop, that led us in the world to see exactly who Fabulous really was and what type of boyfriend he was. She had to go to the extent of being on TV. I think she was only on for one season, and the show kept going on. She was on one season for her to, at the end, to find her voice and her will to move on finally. So now she has her own apartment. She's moved on. She's seeing things clearly. She knows he doesn't want to commit, and he's cheated several times. So now she finally has her own apartment to only turn around and move back in with him shortly after that at the end of the show. So when a man tells you that he's there for you and he's going to change, let those actions speak louder than words. Anybody can say whatever they want to say, but they always should show you that more than anything, even with a female. My opinion on that whole situation, when that man knocked her teeth out, and you can tell on the video her father and brother were there, but yet she was still scared and jumping. Emily's been going through this with Fabulous for the longest, and she felt like, if you're whipping on me in private, you put me through all these things, on top of that you're cheating, why not be public with me? I'm the one you're going through all these things with. I'm the one you're constantly hurting and humiliated. Why not let the world see? What do you have to hide? So she called Fabulous bluff, and that's why he went public. But to me, looking at the pictures now of them, it's always extra. They're always hugging on each other, but it's like a subtleness with Fabulous. It's not a I love you. It's a, okay, we're going to take this picture. Let me do this for Emily. And with Emily, you could tell it's extra now. She's putting herself all on Fabulous, and she's happy that he's putting her out there now. I never saw a connection or the spark between them two that was genuine to me, to where I could say, wow, Fabulous really love her. That's why you have to realize the difference between a relationship that's there for comfort and benefits and a relationship that's there for the long haul. It took for this man to take her 2 teeth out of her mouth, allegedly, in order for him to solely commit to her and marry her private. He didn't even give her the fairy tale wedding publicly that I'm sure she wanted for that. They married privately. And think about it. Did they marry privately so she couldn't testify against him in the court? Because some states and some laws, you don't have to testify against your husband. You know, they could have got married for all the wrong reasons. When a man knows, or even a woman, that they love you and they're ready to commit to you in a relationship, it does not take 5 or 10 years down the line for them to finally wake up and say, hey, I really love her. I'm committed to her. A lot of times people are in these relationships just for comfort, till the next thing come along. Comfort is having someone you know and someone that you feel like is under you. You can control, and they're there for your benefit. They're there sexually for your benefit. They're there to cook. They're there to attend to the bills, the kids, the house. That's a comfort relationship. You have to know the difference between the two. And a lot of people get those confused. And even the relationships with the sexual attraction, those relationships do not last long. If you're sexually attracted to someone, and that's what this is about, then just say you are. You don't have to go to the extent of being in a relationship, let alone a marriage, when you feel like you better off being single. And that's for Safaree and Erica. My next thing is Tiny and T.I. Tiny and T.I. The unfortunate thing for Tiny is I don't think Tiny has a voice, or her self-esteem isn't as high as it should be. She was a part of one of the biggest successful black groups, female groups of all times at one point in time. She made a name for herself. She's produced a couple of songs. She has clout for a female. She has her own thing going. But unfortunately, she allowed Tip to outshine her. She allowed Tip to take head of the household. I agree. A man should be the head of the household. However, you have to make sure he's a man and not a narc. And that's exactly what I feel like T.I. is. He's the type of person, once she allowed him to control it, he controlled everything. Who they would sleep with, what they would do, how it will be done, when it will be done. And all he wanted Tiny to do was sit at home, continue to have the kids, and be there and support him. It wasn't a relationship where he felt like they both can grow. They both were on TV. Tiny had a chance to make a female girl group for herself. He did not want that. What man do you know would not want you to shine yourself, would not want you to build your own success if he truly loved you? What man would not want you to benefit on your own, have your own financial gain? Why isn't two incomes not better than one? What man that genuinely loves you would tell you, no, I want you to stay at home? That's not cool. I think at one point in time, Tip did have love for Tiny, but he took advantage of the love Tiny had for him. If you feel differently about that, or you have your opinion, like I said, feel free to call in. The chat is in it's on the stream. You could call up and give your opinion. The whole situation, to me, it got pretty messy pretty quick. My opinion on inviting someone into your relationship, that can be a tricky thing. I think Tiny got in this relationship in the beginning based off of her having low self-esteem. When you get into a relationship with a man, even a successful man, you have to make sure you're sure of yourself and what you can bring and offer to the table. You cannot get in this relationship thinking this man is your God and he's your everything. If that's what you're going to do, you will continue to be degraded. You will continue to rely solely on him for your happiness. You will look at this man for who you are. And if this relationship does not work out down the line, that will destroy you emotionally. It seems like time and time again, Tiny was holding on for no reason. Now, I don't knock people who has threesomes or invite partners into their relationships. That's on you if you want to spice it up and have fun. However, how I feel, me personally, and I'm just saying, I don't want anyone into my relationship, into my sanctuary. That's personal and private, especially when you're married. When you open that door, that tricky door, be sure that it's going to continue to open behind your back, in front of your face, wherever. How can you expect Tip to be faithful to you when this wasn't a what happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas kind of day? This was an ongoing having threesomes with different females all the time. So how can you get upset and trip when this is the type of life you all lived and he want to continue having an affair behind your back? That's how he felt about it. And can we blame him? Who's going to continue to get upset but allow your man to do whatever it is he wants to do? Allow him to lead the relationship. But when he goes public with these things that he do and constantly humiliate you, he's showing you who he is. He's showing you he has no boundaries or little respect he has for you. Time and time again, we have not only seen Tip smacking females on the butt, but allegedly, a female got kicked out of a restaurant. What did Tip do? Gather Tiny up, gather protesters up, come to that restaurant and feel like this lady was untreated fairly, for Tiny to only find out that Tip was sleeping with the girl that he had her protesting for. How dirty is that? On top of that, she revealed on the show that Tip slept with her assistant, someone she hired. This man has crossed many boundaries, and now you guys are on a road to no return. Who knows how this is going to play out? This could have ended a long time ago if Tiny had the will to say enough is enough and just walk away. Ending a toxic relationship or a controlling relationship, whether it's a man or a woman, you're not going to lose anything but yourself if you continue to allow this person to drag you and stay in this relationship. You have to pick up the pieces and know your self-worth. Know who you are. Do not let someone control you. Do not dictate who you are and how you feel about yourself. You have to find yourself on your own. You have to find things that make you feel good. And Tiny lost that. However, the twist is, to me, with the Todd and Candy, like, their relationship is doing pretty well. And my opinion on Todd and Candy, I'm just saying, is Candy is the breadwinner of this relationship. So Todd's not stupid. He's going to tread lightly. He's getting a chance to have threesomes in their relationships, do all these things that men dream of doing, spending money, opening up business, traveling the world. Why would he mess that up? I mean, he has it so good. Had Tip been on the other shoe, on the other hand, where Tiny was the financial breadwinner of the relationship and she was the main provider, I'm sure he would be just like Todd, treading lightly. But that's not the case. Todd and Candy have a mutual respect and agreement with each other. They have an understanding. What's done with them is done with them. Now, things haven't came out. Things been allegedly said. But I don't know how true it is if they both have outside relationships. I don't think that's true. But if they are, they have an understanding and respect. So I respect their relationships. I don't agree with the threesome situation, being married, because at the end I feel like it could get messy. But I do feel like they have a mutual respect and understanding for each other. So I don't have anything bad to say about those two. You know, they're getting money together. They're opening businesses up together. What can you say? They're thriving. They're a power couple. On the other hand, Yandy and Mendeecees. What I think about them is Yandy is a strong, beautiful woman. I think she is very successful on her own. She can stand on her own, hold her own. And I think she's a good wife, my personal opinion. Mendeecees, on the other hand, to me, when everyone made a big deal about what he said, honestly, I didn't take it that way. I feel like maybe possibly he worded it wrong. I feel like what Mendeecees in reality was trying to say was he don't know if he would cheat on Yandy behind her back, basically saying, I don't know, I can't say what happened, who knows, you know, which is wrong for him to do. But I think that's what he was trying to say. But everyone looked at it like they made it extra. You know, I do look at them as potential of being a power couple. I think they need to go to counseling, and I think Mendeecees has mother issues. Mendeecees expects Yandy to be everything that his mother never was, all the time. And that could be a heavy weight for Yandy to carry. You know, she's running her own business and she's a full-time mother and an activist. You know, she has a lot going on for her. And he needs to be more supportive and step up. And sometimes in these relationships, when the woman is the sole provider, that can be a sharp blow to the man's ego. That could be really hard for him coming out of jail and he has to hit the ground running because Yandy got it under control. Yandy's been holding it down. Yandy's been taking care of the kids, paying the bills, everything. So now he has to solely support on Yandy to get back on the way he used to be. And he's probably not used to that. So that can put a strand in a relationship a little bit. But what he has to realize is they're a partnership. They're husband and wife, for better or worse. What she has, you have. What you have, she has. That's the way it should go. If your wife is doing well, you support her, and then you figure out what it is you want to do to contribute to this family and this household. But don't feel so bad or regretful or have resentment towards her because she got it going on. And you have to start all over again. However, what bothered me, and I felt very bad for him, is his relationship with his mother. A lot of people don't understand and realize a toxic relationship with your father and your mother can have a long haul effect on you as an adult in the long run if you do not receive help or you do not talk to someone. Sometimes our parents nobody's perfect, but our parents don't understand how much of a toll the words they say can hurt you, can rip you to pieces. How much of the things they done in our childhood can destroy us now. That's why it's so important you let that go and you continue to go forward. When Mendici was talking to his mother, I saw a lady that was in her middle teens, having a child basically. The way she communicated with him, the way she did not want him to speak his truth. Like, you're a good mother now, supposedly. You're on this trip. He's giving you recognition. You've been there for him on the show, supportive of him and Yandy relationship. So your past shouldn't affect who you are. If your parent really wants to change, whether it's your mother or father, and they hurt you and they're sorry, they're going to allow you to get off your chest how you really feel. They're not going to shut you up when you decide to have those hard talks with them and you're able finally to say what's on your mind. Well, when I was a child, when I came to you, when such and such hurt me, and no, I don't want to talk about that. That's old. Why do we got to talk about that? Let's move on. You still thinking about that? No, that's a sign your parent has not changed. Your parent is going to allow you to get those emotions off your chest so you can go forward. That's a healthy relationship building. His mom did not want to hear that. And like I stated in my earlier videos with depression, that's how that builds up and eats at you. Your parent is supposed to take it and understand that you have something to say and you were hurt. And if they really care about healing that, they're going to listen and understand and allow you to move forward. A lot of things, and especially in the Black community, we don't speak out about our issues. We don't speak out about family things, depression, or simple stuff that go on in our household that we should be getting help for. So it becomes a bigger problem as adults. I don't see the situation with Mendici and Yandy being too bad. I see them going forward, doing their thing. I know that they have their little issues, but overall, I see a healthy, pretty good relationship with them. Safaree and Erica, I saw that coming. We all saw that coming. I think before she decided to have a second child, when this man told her he didn't want to have the first one for real because they gained weight, why would you turn around and get pregnant again? My problem with that situation, as we get older, why keep bumping our head expecting different results? I'm just saying, why am I going to get pregnant by you again when you stated you hated it, you were miserable, we got fat? Why would I turn around and say, okay, I'm going to have this man baby again? Whether it's your husband or not, clearly there's a disconnect in this relationship and you both want and see things differently. So that's when you put a pause on that. You pump that. Don't keep bringing children into this world, into these dysfunctional, toxic relationships. And that goes for Emily and Fabulous. They just had another child. So let's ask ourselves, was this really the perfect time for them to bring another child in the world? No, we don't have a say when people have kids And yes, people do change. But are people changing for the good, or are they changing for the moment? That's what we have to ask ourselves. And we have to be sure about that. Please don't look at these couples, relationships, and say, this is a couple goal. No, look at your house, look at your family, and look at your structure and build your own couple goal. Do your own thing. Most of these celebrities in these relationships, a majority of the time, they're just put together. Hollywood put whoever they want together. So it's a fake relationship. And then they have to stick it out. A lot of the times they're in these relationships and they're miserable, but they have a brand together. Chrissy and Jim Jones, I think they were wrong from the start and they should have been broke up, but their brand is together. Jim he's not hot like that anymore. And when we hear one thing about the other, it makes us think about Jim or Chrissy. So their brand is each other. She came back on the show and what did they do? Get back together, because it seemed like they were broken up. She was in Miami. He was in New York still. Let's be real. They were broken up. And, if you're building in a relationship, make sure that person is building with you. And make sure before you take that leap of faith, it's for better or worse. It's really somebody that respects you and honor you. This is for a man and a woman. It's not just for the women having a man honor them. This is for the women honoring the man and allowing him to lead you in the right direction. And I'm not talking about a man that lays around the house, that doesn't contribute to the household, and that's not fully committed to helping you and your kids. No, I'm talking about a partnership, someone that builds with you, someone that motivates you and helps you and honor your opinion. It can be toxic females out here too, just like men. It's a lot of females who beat men down verbally. You cannot beat a man down and then later on you expect to rub on him and you console him and you think that's building him up. No, you value him. You let him know you appreciate him. You make sure he feels good about himself too. That's part of the relationship. And the key to keeping a healthy relationship is to continue to work together and admit your flaws. Nobody is perfect. When you can admit your wrongdoing in a relationship and commit to that, that lets you know that your partner is committed to change and there's room for growth. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening today. I wish that someone would have came up here and we had an open discussion on these different celebrities' relationships and you give your opinion. You don't have to show your face. So hopefully next time you guys come up and we chat. We can have a nice healthy debate and our own opinions on different things and what we think. But most importantly, I appreciate you joining me today. So all you have a good day. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Peace.